And so in a simple way, but it's simple but also in the most clear way that I could explain it, the experience of spiritual awakening is realizing this is it. You're it, they're it, this is it. It's all, or if you wanted to be religious about it, it would be the realization that everything is God. If you wanted to be unspiritual about it or unreligious but just spiritual, you'd realize everything is spirit. If you wanted to be even less spiritual than that, you just realize, my God, this is it. Everything's it. Whatever it is, everything is it. Of a single nature. Underneath the level of appearances. That's the realization. Everything is it. And I've never met anybody that's had this realization that wasn't surprised by it, even if they've heard about it 100 times. Because when at once you see it, it's so different. And only then do you realize how deep was the viewpoint that this isn't it. But as soon as your eyes open spiritually and you realize this is it. This is the one. Everything is the one. I am the one. You are the one. They are the one. This is the one. There's only the one. It's so different from the way you've perceived life that it always comes as a shock. Even if you've heard about it 1,000 times. It's never what our minds think it is. I've never met anybody who said it's what I thought it was. It always comes as a bit of a surprise. Because it's completely contrary to the way up until that point one looks at existence. Not only looks at it, but feels about it. And the way we move through life. And what motivates us. So this illusion that this isn't it, you're not it. In other words, the illusion that there's something wrong. This is the illusion that spirituality is trying to see through, and the only cure for it is a direct perception of reality. That's the cure. Reality wakes up. Of course, it's not you that wakes up. It's not me that wakes up. Reality wakes up. That's what wakes up. The one wakes up. Of course, the one wants to wake up. Right? You and me and everything that's around us is born out of the realities, or we could say the universe's desire to experience itself. So the universe wants to experience itself as a human being, you are born out of that desire. Wants to experience itself a tree, so a tree is born out of that desire. It wants to experience itself as a human being that thinks that something's wrong. So that's born. That is born. And so it goes. And of course within it all is this drive always to move back to truth, to true nature. That's why everything and everybody has an instinctual drive towards happiness. People want to be happy. Dogs and cats and rats and caterpillars want to be happy. Every living thing wants to be happy. That's actually the drive of truth back to itself, because the only thing that brings happiness is the truth, is the realization of our true nature. And that's really where the suggestion of just being still arises from. Just to be still. It is why when I give instruction about meditation, I always say meditation is the art of letting everything be as it is. The first thing you have to suspend, if only temporarily, to let everything be as it is your belief that it is not the way it should be. Right? So most meditators, they meditate, and their meditation is a reflection that the way it is not the way it's supposed to be. And so my meditation is going to change it into the way that it's supposed to be. Right? Great way to enter into sort of all sorts of whacked out spiritual states. Which have nothing to do with reality. They have everything to do with whacked out spiritual states. Right? So if you want to enter whacked out spiritual states, hold on to the belief that there's a problem. Use meditation as a means to solving the problem, and you'll get your consciousness into all sorts of weird, warped places. Some of which will be extraordinarily pleasant, which means you'll get totally addicted like a heroin addict to them. And some will be very unpleasant, which you'll want to avoid, but which you won't really have control over avoiding. Sounds like a fun game, doesn't it? Has anybody ever fallen prey to this game? I imagine so. But it's why I suggest in true meditation, the first thing is let everything be as it is. Why would I suggest to people to let everything to be as it is? Well, only because I know that there's no problem. That there couldn't possibly be a problem because it's all one. Even if there's a problem, it's still one. And one of the only ways to realize that it's all one is to stop insisting that everything's a problem. So when you allow everything to be as it is, you see how it's just, there's a temporary suspending of the idea. You can always go back to it. But there's a suspending of the idea that you are a problem. That there's something within you, about you, that must be solved and changed and improved. Must be a suspension of that idea to even have a moment of allowing everything to be as it is. And when you first start to do that, you often will be encountered with your mind. You'll start to see all the ways that your mind is trying to change the way things are. It's the first thing that a lot of people encounter when they try to let everything be as it is. They notice, sometimes for the very first time, how addicted their mind is to a constant pursuit of a better state. And allowing everything to be as it is, just that can be very frightening for some people. If I allow everything to be as it is, maybe I won't get to where I'm going. You see? But if it's all already it, where are you going? Well, the answer to that is very clear. You're going in the direction of your fantasy. That's the only place you could be going. And when you get there, and if you ever get there, it's just going to be a fantasy.